Hello everyone, CMD here. Okay, in this quick video, I'm showing you how to adjust your polar processes based on your polar type in Cacti. Now, on your default installation, Cacti will come with CMD.php. That is a single-threaded polar process that allows you to adjust how many processes are spawned. So the way that Cacti works is that it calls on a polar. That polar reaches out to the devices you monitor, collect the data, and send it back to the system. It needs to get that job done within the collection time that you've set. Example, if you have a 1 minute polar process time limit or polar time, it needs to do its job within that 1 minute. Okay. Now, if it's above a minute, then the process will sit there it will overrun its time and never complete, or complete very late, and the data will then not be valid for your polling cycle. So as your device count increases, you will have to accommodate for the amount of devices the system is set up for, and the main thing you have to do is to adjust the performance of the polar. Okay, so we need to spawn more processes to get things done faster, but CMD.php has a limit to how much you're going to be able to do with it. So there may be a chance you have to go to spine. So if you have a system like 50 devices and lower, sure, fine. CMD.php will, in most cases, fit the bill. If you have a system with 1,000 devices, then chances are you're using spine. So in this example, we are talking about spine. So first of all, how do we even figure out which one we're using? Go over to configuration, settings, and then go over to polar. And you'll see that polar type here is set to spine. Okay, you have a drop down for CMD.php as well. If you don't have spine enabled, you will not see spine here. It will just be CMD.php. Okay, now I want to adjust this. So how do I do that? I'm going to go to data collections, data collectors, and I have a single polar system. Okay, and I can see now this is a lab setup, right? So polling time is very, very short. It's 4 seconds. Okay, but let's say you know what, it's reaching the 50-second mark, right? And I really need to do something about it. I'm going to go over to the main polar, and then I'm going to adjust the settings. So typically you can set up more processes, okay, or more threads depending on your system setup. There are some general guidelines that I'll include in the description below with the Cacti official documentation about increasing these, because it's not a matter of just increasing this and away you go. There are some MySQL changes that may need to be adjusted. So usually it's the max connections in the case of spine, that is, because spine will directly interact with the database and generate a lot of connections. CMD.php is slightly different, and you don't really need to account for that MySQL thing. So that's why I'm focusing mostly on spine, because spine, although is much faster than CMD, also is more complex. Okay, so if I want to adjust this, I would say from 1, say, to 2. I can do that. Click Save. And I've made the change. Now to validate that change, I can go over to the logs and filter by stats, and then I can do spine, right? Filter by spine, and eventually, okay, I have this set up every minute, but on the next polling cycle, I should be able to verify that it's 2 processes and 1 thread. Okay. And then, of course, you're going to be monitoring your system stats to be sure that no issues occur do your checks and balances. But in general, as long as in the case of spine, you have your MySQL max connections value set correctly, and you haven't gone to something outrageous like I have a dual core CPU, but I've told Cacti to use 10 threads. Well, that's not going to work because I'm sending 10 threads to a 2-threaded CPU. So this does require some planning. And as you can see, right here, there's already a difference in my polling time. So average was around 4 seconds, and now it's 3.4. Now, that's does not seem like a huge dip, but I don't have many devices. Right? I have 11 devices in this setup, but in a larger setup, you would see things starting to come down. Okay, so that's about it for changing your Polar setup. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment section below. And as always, just reach out to the official Cacti documentation for any other questions you have. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.